Hello, intent to injure, and welcome to the Week 16 podcast. Eric Skleski and Austin Revita with you once again. We've been off once again for a couple of weeks. Happy to be back with you. We're playing a little bit of an emotional song right now as we are a little bit depressed. Day after the Super Bowl. Football season's over. We understand this is the hockey podcast, but, you know, it's a little emotional to be done. So, before we jump into the hockey, we did just quickly want to talk about the Super Bowl last night. We both wanted, needed, had to have the Seahawks win. Austin, your thoughts on the call from Pete Carroll? And I would say it's probably similar to a lot of Seahawks fans and people who are rooting for the Seahawks around the country.
Okay, it was... I'm not going to go out and say it's the worst call in the history of sport. Some people are.
I will, yeah. I will
some people
say that.
The worst call in the history of sport.
Could you name one that's worse off the top of your head? If you can't, it probably.
I mean, like, are we talking like play, or are we just talking like stupidity? Like not like stupidity. I mean, trading Wayne Gretzky is pretty bad.
Yeah, but
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but there was reasons for that.
Right, monetary reasons, and the NHL again, it was rigged. The NHL wanted a team out in Los Angeles to be California to be prevalent. I mean, Grady Little sticking with Pedro in the 7th was pretty bad. That was that's up there in the top 5. Don't get me wrong. This is in the top 5 worst coaching decisions of all time. I don't even know. I mean, there was so many emotions going on in this house, and we were just watched with Jake, like a video of people, the Seahawks, like the up and down emotions that they had. If you had cameras on us last night, you would have saw like a full spectrum of like, okay, the Super Bowl starting, we're all fired up, the pizza guy showed up, I was here, Eric was showering, Ben was doing something else. It was nuts. There was chaos. It was controlled chaos. Then the game started, and we won it. The under, looked great. Nothing after the first, and there were no field goals. And for all the sake of everything, it looked good. And then it looked Seahawks were up 10, and we're all in there on searching the internet for other stuff, doing whatever, having
the fappening.
We were looking at
for like 45.
Yeah, we were looking at the fappening, like Kate Upton. Unfortunately, solo.
Yeah. But Jake, and it should be mentioned, Jake Boss and Colin Fawcett were over as well.
Right.
Another 2 members of this league.
And like everything looked great, and then it was like, oh, Tom Brady's still the quarterback of the Patriots. Here they come. And then it was weird because it's like the Seattle defense like played so well the whole game, and then in the fourth quarter they stunk, and it was like Brady wanted his moment, and then the last minute happened, and if you don't think the NFL is rigged and pro sports are rigged after that, you maybe ignorance is bliss for sports fans who just want to be sports fans, but when it's like toyed with you this much, and when they antagonize you and just poke you with a stick like, hey, look what we can do, and you'll still pay money to watch this product that's fake, I don't know, it just hurts.
Yeah, I mean, give me another explanation as to why the ball was thrown from the 1-yard line on 2nd down with a timeout. It makes no sense in the world. I was up all night trying to figure out.
You said you're up till 3 o'clock in the morning.
About 3:45.
Yeah.
It's just trying to one, make sense of the play call, and 2, I just didn't want the football season to be over.
2 good reasons to be awake. I agree. But
I'm manically depressed at the moment.
Yeah, I came into the house this morning. The kid was drinking. It looks like he was drinking Airborne again. He had crackers in a dish. And he was listening to Heroes. It looked like he was just crying. He had bags under his eyes. It didn't look good.
Not good, but
on a 1 to 10, it was a soft 3.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. That's fair, and that's warranted to say. But with that in mind, we turn the page.
Well, you mean get your thoughts on it? Your thoughts?
I think it's the worst call ever. To argue kind of the fixed side of things, we've talked about it. The curse, is that his name?
Yeah.
Jermaine? The guy who made the absurd catch where he rolled around and then the ball miraculously ended up in his hands. That was never supposed to happen. So when that did happen, the Seahawks kind of froze up. They didn't know what to do, but they knew they couldn't get in the end zone. They hand it off to Lynch. Lynch gets 4 yards, almost gets in. You know, that's kind of lost in the grand scheme of things. And you will note that conveniently, the Patriots did not take a timeout, and Seattle ran the clock. So if they would have scored, there would have been essentially no time left on the clock. Right. And the Patriots had the opportunity to stop that. So once Seattle did inevitably score, they would have had time to get the ball back, and
they would have at least had.
They only needed a field goal.
35 to 40 seconds.
They had at least one timeout, maybe two.
I'm pretty sure. No, I saw on Twitter they had two.
That's
and they didn't burn one after that first down. And like Belichick's such a intelligent coach, and both coaches that are in the Super Bowl. I mean, Pete Carroll had 2 national championships in college, and he was 36 inches and a stupid fucking play call away from having 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And back to back. I mean, so let's say. I mean, you could argument that Pete Carroll's one of the best coaches.
In our era. Don't get me wrong. Pete Carroll's been a great coach, but there was something up with that play call.
Boneheaded 30 seconds, and the NFL just they
got what they wanted.
They laugh and they just laugh behind closed doors because this will be talked about for months.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll never not hear about that last 30 seconds for the rest of your football watching career.
I've been trying to make sense of it in every which way that I can, and that's the only reason as to why you would throw a high-risk pass, slant pass over the middle like that. We've talked about you hand it off to Lynch, option 1, option 2, option 3. If you want to take it a step further, maybe a QB sneak, maybe a read option with Russell Wilson, but you never in a million years even entertain the thought of throwing a ball over the middle that could be intercepted. Somebody else made a good point that you could have got a penalty on that holding.
Right, and you're at the 12, and now it's like, oh shit! Like,
makes no sense on God's green earth to make that play call.
And mind you, this is geared towards the Seahawks. Now, if this was another team, I mean, and I know you know he's an ass, and you say blatantly he's an ass.
Yeah.
But if it's Peyton Manning, no one's questioning that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in a sense,
Peyton
it's like you're almost, it's like you'd rather him throw than attempt a run. But it's just like with the personnel the Seahawks have, I don't know.
The running game is their strength. Lynch couldn't be stopped all night, and he needed a yard, maybe even a little bit less. I mean, it's like,
I remember watching on the replay. They had that. They had do like the off white color for the line of scrimmage, and it literally was overlapping the 1 yard line. So if he fell forward, which I can't remember, once in the playoffs where he didn't fall forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's mind-boggling to wrap my head around.
It sucks that it ended that way. Like if like we said, if it would have ended with them throwing an interception at the 50-yard line, you would have said the Patriots were the better team. I mean, you blow a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, and not only blow it, but you turned losing into an art form right there by not being able to get in from the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
it's a bummer.
And I mean, I do give him credit for kind of manning up after the game, answering the questions about it. But I still didn't really get a good answer as to why that play was called.
Yeah,
but I don't want to. I don't want to spend any more time on this.
We've exhausted our emotions.
Yes.
We're drinking coffee after pre-workout, after lifting, just to
kind of keep ourselves upright.
Right.
But so this is officially the day, February 2nd, where we turn the page, and really, I mean, and I know we'll have a little bit of interest in basketball, but nothing like hockey. So we kind of turn our entire focus to hockey. These podcasts might become a little more frequent again because we're going to be a lot more involved in hockey now that football is gone. So that's maybe the one upside here. But it's been a couple weeks since we did the podcast. Good to be back. A lot to talk about for the Intent to Injure League. And I actually wanted to start off kind of well, I mean, this is interesting. Like, just kind of a live update. I see that Brent Mansfield, and he was kind of where I was headed anyway, has changed his team name from "We're a Joke, This Team Sucks" to "Is Mayonnaise an Instrument?" I don't know what that is about.
Why don't you give that a quick Google and see if it's... He's like he's a big SpongeBob guy. So I'm honestly... Remember the one... What was that? The barnacle joke. Yeah. He did that to us once, and we were both... Oh. There it is.
I think you're right. It is.
It is.
It's SpongeBob.
It's a 10-second clip. Let's see what it is. Let's give it some volume here. Mind you, he only...
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick. Mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
I may change my team name to that if I lose. Horseradish is not a.
So-
so sad.
There it is. So Patrick Starr on the quote there for the new Brent Mansfield team name. So starting off kind of with Brent and a very relevant topic that is kind of going on in this league right now is trades. It's been very active,
Which is nice.
it is nice. Now, I mean, I have so many thoughts that I want to get to on the topic of trades.
Okay.
Let's start out with Brent. I have gotten, and I've relayed this message to Brent. At least 3 people in this league are physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted from receiving trade proposals from Brent. I really haven't heard anybody say he's sent over a good one yet. On the other hand of things, Brent's on the message boards in the league posting that he's the only one that can see a good side of a trade. But apparently he is just firing trade proposal after trade proposal. I mean, I know Mendelson, Wright,
I received a
Boss. I mean,
weird
you.
ones.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, people are, and I know Mendelson and Wright in particular have probably received upwards of double digits of trade proposals over the past couple of weeks, and they have had enough. Now, I've been on the record. I love trades. I'll trade for the sake of trading, even if I'm not even sure if it's going to help my team, just because I love to mix things up. But there's also the other school of thought, and I know Mendelson's been on the record saying this, is that his team, and with a win this week, is now, let's see here.
So 10, 11 and 6.
11-6. I never know if those are updated. I think that is the case.
Oh wait, no. Well,
Let's see here. No, so he is 10-6.
Yeah.
And currently sitting in the 4th and final playoff spot, but he's had a nice little run here. He's won a couple in a row, and his school of thought is, you know, my team's having success. Why mix it up? Why trade? Whereas my rationale is my team's had a lot of success. I clearly have a nice amount of depth. I could package up that depth and get some maybe upper echelon players. But in my mind, there's always room for improvement. You can always make your team better, and I strive to do that. And I believe I've made 5 trades now this year, which is definitely leading the league. I don't think anybody's made more than 2. I think Brent has made 2. Brent's made 3 at least. 2 with me, 1 with Robbie. There was a little controversy over the most recent trade between Brent and I, and I'll read this trade off. Brent traded Carey Price back to Talkit's Book Service. Talkit's Book Service drafted him to start the year for the likes of TJ Brody, Brock Nelson, and Michael Hutchinson. And Jake Boss posted on the message board, which yielded no other responses. It says, veto Talkit's Book Service using his booking abilities to brainwash the league. 3 scrubs that were working for McDonald's a month ago for the top goalie in the league. Nonsense. Now, I have 2 comments on that.
I haven't even seen this. Is the first I'm seeing this. So.
Okay. 2 comments on that. 1, this was actually a trade that Brent proposed to me. So I wasn't sending out these offers. All I said to him is that of course I told him I'm interested in Carey Price. Of course, who wouldn't be interested? And we had sent back, a series of text messages, kind of, trying to work out players. Every player on both of our rosters have been floated out there, of course.
Yeah.
With Brent. But so Brent sends over this one. He says Price for Brody, Nelson, and Hutchinson. And at the time, Hutchinson actually has a better save percentage. I'm pretty sure better goals against average than Price.
Hutchinson stiff.
He's been awesome. He's won like 14 out of 20 games at the time.
I was gonna say, the hard sell to people is you're trading a Montreal goalie for a Winnipeg goalie.
Right.
On the surface, it looks like, but TJ Brody.
Well, here's the big issue with the trade as a whole is not many people, unless you really follow closely, are aware of who TJ Brody, Brock Nelson, and Michael Hutchinson are. I get that. They're not big name players.
No.
But they definitely bring contributions as far as fantasy goes. So I'm looking at TJ Brody now. In 50 games played this year for Calgary, the defenseman, has 8 goals, 22 assists, plus 25, 85 shots on goal. He's ranked 15th in the league for fantasy defensemen. So, 10 teams, on any team, he would be a number 2
defenseman, yeah.
So that's value there. I mean, there's value in TJ Brody. He's not a scrub that's working at McDonald's. And he actually...
That's just a funny comment.
I know, it was.
Yeah.
And he actually is, as far as fantasy points go, is the number one defenseman on Brent's team right now. So that's a valuable lesson for him, a guy that didn't have any defense. Brock Nelson, Islanders forward, in 49 games has 15 goals, 16 assists, +5, and 124 shots on goal. Position ranked 20. He can play center and left wing. For me, this was tough for me to give him up because I only have one left wing in my lineup.
See, that's the thing. That's your problem with people. He kept wanting to get Gustav Nyquist from me, and it's not worth it because I can play him in 2 spots.
Yeah, that's very valuable.
That's more that's more valuable to me than getting another goalie or something. He keeps saying I need a new goalie because Bobrovsky's out, but Bernier doesn't have the.
Yeah, and that's the
cachet.
He's been trying to sell Bernier to anybody and everybody who will listen to him.
Bernier couldn't sell Bernier to himself.
No, he couldn't.
Brent would try to sell an Eskimo or a refrigerator, and I think he could succeed sometimes, but against, we understand,
So
Jakob Kindle.
So is this trade, relating to this trade here? For me, it probably actually was not the smartest trade. I'm giving up 3 guys for 1 guy. No matter what Carey Price does this season,
eyeballs,
and he's been awesome, he's not going to be able to outscore Brody Nelson and Hutchinson combined.
No.
Okay? We get that. Now, that's not the base of the trade because obviously I can pick up 2 more guys, and that'll play into it as well.
I was going to say, you had empty slots when I looked.
But 1, don't act like these guys are not valuable because all 3 of them deserve a spot on a fantasy roster, okay? And 2, I just wanted it to be made clear that this was not my proposal. This was sent to me, and initially I said no.
Really?
I declined the trade. I actually offered him Trouba instead of Brody, in which he said no, and I just said, okay, brother, and 5 hours later I came back and we started the talks up again, and then eventually we agreed to make the trade. So, but no, I didn't want to do this at all at first, and that's the thing about all the trades. I haven't made out of all 5 trades this year, and a lot of them have worked out in my favor. Not one of them was easy for me. You were with me for the Ovechkin Rene for Eriksson, Hall, and Price trade earlier in the year with Brent, and you remember how hard that was for me. I was like, I don't want to do this, and you were like, I would do that if I
I'd do it in a heart. Yeah, that was the one.
And I sat there and I went back and forth with it. Now, of course, it's worked out for me very favorably.
Ovechkin's absurd. Speaking
of him, he played that game yesterday against the Blues through 2 periods. He had 2 goals, 9 shots.
Like what? Yeah.
And now I'm just going to transition to another topic at this time.
Should fire up that can.
Although I'm not done with Brent, because I have a few more things I want to say about him. But to the topic of like Ovechkin taking over games, he's been just unbelievable, the difference maker for Washington, obviously.
Right.
And to kind of transition into that and a little bit of Penn's talk, I mean, it might sound goofy, but I mean, I'm really disappointed and frustrated in Sidney Crosby. When is the last time you saw him just take over a game, like for example, what Ovechkin did yesterday?
What was the game? That's gonna bug me, so I'm gonna click into where's
John
Madonna?
Rosen.
Yeah. There was the game where everyone was bitching for a while. Oh, and I'll be able to find it right here. That one, the Islander game. Where he came out with 2 goals, 2 assists, 5 shots on goal. But mind you,
2 goals, 1 assist.
2 goals, 1 assist. Yeah, and that was a long time ago. So
it's so few and far between. Like,
right, it's weird. Like in a week, he had 3 goals, 3 assists. He was a -1, -2, and he had in 3 games he had 12 shots on goal. So like.
Well, here's my issue. Can I say this one thing?
Yeah, go ahead. This is the issue.
So you just had a huge stretch of games against important opponents, divisional rivals. So here it is. On January 20th against Philadelphia, 0 goals, 0 assists, 3 shots. And that was a game where they had like 8 power plays. Like they were on a power play for half the game. 3 shots and no points, and they didn't convert on the power play.
What day was that? I feel like we were like doing something that day. That was just awful to watch.
Yeah, that was not good. That was the night we were supposed to go to the Linkin Park concert.
That's what it was. We ended up doing something else.
And the next night against Chicago, this is a big one. Everybody's pumped about it. Pens are always compared to they always
Right.
kind of match up because, these are two star-studded rosters with superstars
Yup-de-hero.
against Chicago. 0 goals, 0 assists, -1. And then, of course, in the shootout, you see Taves and Kane make it look easy. Crosby's a chance to extend the game and doesn't score.
That was weird.
I mean,
that was a very
frustrating.
lackluster shootout shot. Like, that was weird. He just came down, and
yeah.
even, like, Pierre or whoever, someone made a comment
I wasn't done.
oh, you're still, okay.
Yeah. It gets suspended against Winnipeg because he's a little bitch and doesn't want to attend the All-Star game with a lower body injury, as we predicted on the previous podcast. Go back and look. It's in, like, the 47-minute mark. We nailed it. We said he would come up
We
with
actually said
the mysterious
lower too.
Yeah, we said the mysterious lower body injury. He'll play the full game before the break, and then he'll come out the next day, just as we predicted. It came marching in at about 6 p.m. the following day that he was out for the All-Star game. So he gets suspended in the following game, does not play against Winnipeg, in which, ironically enough, the Penguins win. The next night they go to Washington. Another 0 goal, 0 assist, -1 performance. Pens looked terrible, uninspired, got walked all over by Washington. On
That was
national
awful.
TV.
Watching that sucked. That actually was brutal. That was fucking terrible to watch. Yeah.
And then 2 days later, at New Jersey, a divisional opponent, they squeak out a win. It looked like for the longest time they weren't going to. He does get 1 assist in that game, but that's the game where I'm saying out loud, where's Crosby? Where's Crosby? Like, a big goal here. This is what you're paid to do. This is why you're considered the best player in the world. Give me something. And he follows it up on February 1st, yesterday, against Nashville. Talk about uninspiring. A 4-0 home loss with a 2 p.m., and that's kind of the kicker. The 2 p.m. start makes it that much more dull on Root Sports. The loss to Nashville, 0 goals, 0 assists, -1. I mean, just almost non-existent. Very disappointing. Now, of course, I still have faith in Sidney Crosby. He's still, in my eyes, the best player in the world. But he's got to start acting like it because the Penguins are struggling. It has nothing to do with anybody else but Sidney Crosby right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's just tough. Like, I think it's got to the point now where like people are criticize like, oh, Crosby needs a winger, Crosby needs this, Crosby needs that. I think we're at the point now where it's like we. All what's the word I'm looking for? All his talent aside with Chris Kunitz, like what he's done is unbelievable. But he's not gonna win you game. Like we're at the point where it's like you could put, I don't know, Sidney Crosby on the Winnipeg or fucking Edmonton, and they're not going to be great. Now, I understand the Penguins have this longevity of, like, good regular seasons and blah, 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 but we may be getting to the point now where it's like, this team just doesn't have talent. I mean, you're in the NHL, you have talent. This is all relative, what I'm saying, but, I mean, maybe Chris Kunitz is like past where he was when in 2009 is when we got. That's 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Dupuis was he was getting older. He was 35 years old. Maybe like these guys around him just aren't good players anymore. They were. Well, what was it? 3 years ago were we saying that was the best line in hockey? Dupuis,
right.
Crosby,
maybe even 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's tough now. It's like you bring in David Perron, but it's like it takes these guys some time.
Well, I do want to say this.
And
I don't think that there's any doubt that Chris Kunitz has lost a step. That's been apparent. He does score a big goal the other night in New Jersey on the power play, which was huge. I think he's definitely lost a step. He looks slower. He looks, I don't know, he's not as aggressive and feisty as he was in years past.
In the way he plays, I think lends to that. I mean, he's a guy who would take a hit to make a play, and you get old. What was it? We were joking around when we were skating Friday, and it was like we're getting old. Like you feel it the next day. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine these guys exert like umpteenth times of energy that we do, working out or skating or in our daily lives doing whatever we do, and they wake up the next day and they go to practice. It's like we wake up the next day and we're like, okay, I'll take some pre-workout and lift for an hour. Yeah. So it takes its toll, and I completely agree. I think
he's lost
noticeable
steps, but at the same time, he's still serviceable.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying, like, trade him or don't play with Crosby. I'm just saying we have to
I do want to talk about that in a second, but Crosby now has David Perron. So you got Perron and Kunitz. There's really no excuse if you're Sidney Crosby right now. for this past week to only have an assist and be like a minus. What was he, a -3 this past week?
You give it to the now. Do you?
There's really no excuse for
Will
that.
you give it to the end of the month and see if if everything kind of comes together? And if not, March. We're gonna be in March here in a month. Like, do we in panic mode? Like, where are
Right.
you in terms of? I mean, this is. I would say this is the worst skid we've had. Like the worst
Regular season.
Yeah, worst regular season
Since 09.
3 weeks in a long time since we fired Tyrion. I would say.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with that.
Biles, the grass isn't always greener, everyone.
But the one thing is that with Malkin being hurt now, since Perron's come over, either Crosby, Malkin, or Hornquist have been hurt. Not all 4 of those guys have been in the lineup at any point.
It is.
So I do want to see how that shakes out when everybody's healthy, and I think that's going to obviously make a huge difference. So I do want to see that. So I'm not, as far as the Pens go, and I know that they're not really, I mean, they're kind of hanging on to a playoff spot. They're not as far as you would think away from dropping out of the playoffs. I really don't have any concern, and in a weird way, I almost am like kind of happy that this is happening because we did see this in 09, the year that they won the Cup. They were out of a playoff spot in February when they fired Tyrion.
Yeah.
And
then they rattled off. They went on a road trip and they won the longest road trip winning streak ever, which was 5
I mean,
games.
how many times did we see it? We saw it last year with the Kings. It's all about when you get hot at the right time. You just got to get in and you got to be playing the good hockey at the right time.
Right.
And
6, 7, 8. So we're only 4 points up on a playoff spot.
Right. So,
with other teams having games in hand. Wow.
And speaking of which, yeah, I mean, you can count Florida out of a playoff spot.
Sorry, Brent.
That bet with Brent and I. That feels pretty good after he lit me up for the Pirates the past
the
couple of
Pirates and the
seasons.
Buckeyes. Ohio State.
Yeah,
he
but
snagged one there, yeah.
Yeah. He's actually kind of a shark, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
One final thing, and then we're going to start jumping into kind of the matchups here and a couple other things, is there is this whole idea of trading Chris Kunitz is picking up steam, and I can't believe it.
It is?
Yeah. I've had some people say it to me the other day, and then I actually heard it on the radio yesterday.
I fucking smell. Sorry, I'm really smelling myself. That's just. But so there's some fortitude to this. There's
I mean, I wouldn't do it. I don't know what a return for a guy like Chris Kunitz at this point would be.
Yeah, like we're going to get 2 more third liners. That's all we need is another Maxime Lapierre or Gotch or
we've worked.
fucking
I mean,
whatever.
we've worked for a long time to get some nice top 6 wingers. We finally have it. I don't know why you would trade one away.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, I'm not seeing anything here yet.
Yeah, I mean the trade deadline comes up when? Is it the first week of March?
Usually like that second week. It's like March. It's in the teens, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
like somewhere around there,
coming
not
up.
far away.
We'll see what the Pens feel that they need to address to improve this team. We're not finding much online. Hey, there it is. Pittsburgh Penguins trade deadline rumblings.
According to most, Chris Kunitz is unhappy. It says.
Yeah, which makes no sense. Because could you imagine where a guy like Chris Kunitz would be without Sidney Crosby? I mean, the guy was playing on the frickin' Canadian.
He could be at McDonald's.
Yeah. Talk about He was on the Canadian Olympic team last year. This undrafted guy at a Ferris State.
Yeah.
Whatever college you went to. Is that right?
You're correct.
I mean,
according to recent reports, he is unhappy in Pittsburgh and would like to move on. Whether this is confirmed or not leaves the door open for possibilities. You have to consider what you're giving up from your decor now that Oli Mott is on the shelf. I think a very likely trade partner is the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, who though? Andre Sekera. If you trade him for Andre Sekera or Tim Gleason,
ugh.
I would vomit.
Yeah, that's picking up steam as well. I don't really know what he would bring to the table.
I don't even know how you get him to the table because who are you going to give up to get Jaromir Jagr? What do the Devils want at this point?
Yeah,
We
they're
all
going to
know.
want something, and there's going to be teams that are probably going to want to pay. I think it's pretty apparent he is slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, what does he have? 9 goals, 16 assists.
25, and he was out for a little bit with the flu. I know
Yeah.
that, and
Let's just look at all that aside. He's 44 years old, still out skating.
Yeah.
But I don't.
It's still impressive. But
If you're trading Chris Kunitz, I'm hoping you're. See, but the thing that we may run, or we may be blinded, tunnel visioned a little bit by we've seen Chris Kunitz score 30 goals But other teams say, well, we don't have Sidney Crosby, so
Right.
he's not worth that much to
And
us.
that's
So
true. There's
yeah,
a lot. Yeah,
and that
That's
to them could be, a thing.
absolutely. So let's jump into the week's matchups now. Of
There you-
course,
1 month till the trade deadline from
okay.
Yoey. So there you go.
there
Yep.
it is. And of course, once the trade deadline rolls around, we'll have a nice podcast, I'm sure.
Right. Hopefully,
Just kind of,
yeah.
maybe even like a live thing going on. But jump into the Week 16 matchups. Let's actually get down to some fantasy. We'll start off with this matchup real quick. It was Goodnight Jim Kite versus Hawkins Book Service, first place versus last place. And went exactly how you thought it would go. Talkers Book Service with their 11th straight win, 147.2 to 85.8. I did have a little scare on January 29th as I was beat 37.6 to 5. And I actually had a few guys going. It was just an off night for my squad. And they were within 10 points at that point. And I'm thinking...
It's not a good feeling because they're a good goalie performance away from
Yeah,
stealing
exactly.
a week. Yeah, not a good
Wanted
feeling.
to get your thoughts. I have been very active as far as matchup acquisitions go. I've had way too many work shifts in which I'm sitting in front of a computer for 6-8 hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've become very involved in not only fantasy hockey, but fantasy basketball as well. And there's a little plug for Lob City. We are still in first place with a commanding lead. Which will yield zero monetary benefits if I win. But that just goes to show how bored I get sometimes.
A stiff pat on the back, maybe.
I did want to get your thoughts on a guy, Jacob Trouba. And this is a guy that I picked up this week. He was hurt for a while, so he's only played 35 games, the Winnipeg defenseman. He's got 5 goals, 10 assists, plus 6, 79 shots in the 35 games he has played. And he's young. I think he's like 20 years old.
I think this is his second year in the league. So he, I don't know if we actually watched that. So he, he was a 4th overall pick as a defenseman and got Winnipeg got shelled for picking this guy because they left a couple people out there, but he's turned out to be a top defenseman for their team. So good that they can move Bufflin up to play offense, which is great for them. Yeah. And now they're streaking. The Pens put a nice little stop their streak, but the Winnipeg Jets are sneakily in the playoffs right now. So with Hutchinson in goal, which is crazy. So good for them. And this guy. I mean, this kid has a great chance. All these young defensemen coming up. It's nice to see. We're not talking only about Doughty and Subban, and even we should be talking more about Chris Letang. But that's another topic for another day. But all these Duncan Keith. It's we have these young guys coming in. Mark Giordano is playing 30 minutes a night and is running away with the Norris. I mean, you have the guys like Trouba, even T.J. Brody, who's Giordano's defensive partner. They're both a combined plus 70.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
absurd.
Jonas Hiller's your goaltender. I mean, that's crazy. So all these young defensemen, it's great. Olimata even. Pouliot looks like he's going to be really good. Just across the board, it's just these young guys are coming in. It's unbelievable what good these guys. It's scary.
And this is the reason I picked up this guy was because I actually made a trade with Robbie Wright. I actually can't even remember at this point what his newest team name is. And I don't know if you saw this trade. It was Subban and Chara for Tarasenko. So I gave up Subban and Chara. Subban actually played 1 game as a member of Talkers Book Service.
And he was already
before
shipped
I
off.
shipped him off. And that's a guy that I love. I've gone back and forth on whether or not I should have done that. Chara has been a guy that's really underperformed, hasn't kind of gotten his feet underneath him from the injury. I expect him, though, to kind of come to here in the last couple months of the season. But I trade away 2 defensemen, and then the trade with Brent, I trade away Brody and get a goaltender back. So I lose 3 of my, 5 defensemen. So now I'm just kind of streaming defensemen. So Trouba was a guy.
Oh, he got Goligoski back on the roster.
He is back, the Goose. He's back.
Well,
you know what? I mean, he's not scoring goals, but he does have 22 assists.
He has 1 goal in 49 games.
Yeah, which is unbelievable.
Woof.
But he does have 22 assists. And he's playing on a team that's scoring a lot in the Dallas Stars, so I think maybe, plus minus.
And good. I mean, good for him.
I mean, there's really not much in the way of defensemen out on the waiver wire, so I've kind of put myself in that position. But I did want to make a proclamation here, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I did want to announce here, heading into Week 17, that it is championship or bust for Talkins Book Service.
He has announced that. Okay.
I feel that I put myself in a fantastic position. Just looking up and down the roster, some of the names here. You have Ovechkin, Malkin, Giroux, Tays, Letang, Doughty, Price, Rene, Howard. I picked up Tyler Toffoli this week. I mean, Vladimir Tarasenko, forgot about him. That I acquired in that trade, 25 goals, 25 assists.
Is Toffoli skated?
Yeah, he's played. Had a good first game and
I was gonna say,
second game.
he had mono for a while there. I was wondering if they were gonna let him play again.
So, for me, it's what it comes down to.
He's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, I mean, this team wants a championship.
So what you're saying
I'm trying to kind of overcompensate, I feel like, with the fantasy football season I had, which is maybe why I'm putting a little bit more effort into the hockey just to kind of make up for it as a fantasy owner.
So
what
you're saying is you would run the ball from the 1 yard line. You're confident that you would get. Okay.
I'd run it not once, not twice, not 3 times, but all 4 times. And if I had a 5th down, I'd run it again. So that's that.
That's what you're saying.
To turn the page here, and I know we've gotten stuck on this matchup a little bit too long, just to talk about Goodnight Jim Kite. They're not setting a lineup.
They're done.
I told Ben this week, and it was after like night 2, which, as you can see, was a very lopsided score. I said, Ben, can you guys please set your lineup? Like, I want to have a little fun this week, a little competition, even as much as you can give me. And it actually they would have cracked 100 points for sure. But they're leaving so many guys on the bench. They have Mike Richards in the lineup still.
Yeah, that
was not even owned by an NHL team.
Right. Well, he currently got waived.
Yeah,
and crass waivers.
And I've said this before on previous podcasts. Ben literally looks at his other fantasy team for his Cal U hockey team like daily, and asks me like, "Oh, Eric, should I drop this guy to pick up this guy? Like, do you think there's anything to this guy getting hot?" He's like really involved. I don't understand why in this league they've let this team just tank. But they're down to 3-13 and officially eliminated from a playoff spot with I believe there's 7 weeks left.
They're out.
You're out.
Apparently
6 weeks. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 7. So they could get as many as 10 wins, and the bottom playoff team right now has 10 wins.
Christ. Yeah, speaking of down and out, breaking news across the screen here. Warren Sapp apparently allegedly tried to solicit a prostitute at 7 a.m. this morning in Phoenix that happened to be a police officer. So good for Warren.
Well, he looks terrible in the mugshot.
He doesn't look good in the mugshot. Sometimes social media is just great for stuff like that. Like, Warren's like, what are you doing, Warren?
It's unbelievable.
Bummer.
So jumping over to the next matchup, back to a little bit of Brent talk, is Mayonnaise an Instrument versus Jonathan Quickies. Now, a lot of trash talk coming from Brent towards Mendelson this week. They actually met live and exchanged a few words at Pickup Hockey.
They did.
Last Friday. And, I mean, really, what can you say? Brent was sitting there saying he left us with the, quote, one-word goaltending and left. And he was just referring to his fantasy goaltending. He claimed he had a trade in the making, which never came to pass. I don't know what to say about Brent as a fantasy owner right now. I do hope that most recent trade works out for him, but he's dropped 2 straight. He's down to 7-9 with the loss here. The final score in this one, 148.7 to 90.2. Jonathan Quickies with the week high and getting their 3rd straight win, as we already mentioned, 10-6, occupying the final playoff spot of the Intent to Injure League. One guy, and I was kind of monitoring Quickie's team all week. This is actually my matchup this week. It was TJ Oshie. This guy he's been lighting it up. Got off to a very slow start this season. I remember he was on the waiver wire. I would check his stats from time to time.
The Osh dog got dropped for sure, yeah.
But he is just red hot. I mean, there's only been 1 game out of the last 10 where he hasn't had a point. He's had multiple points in quite a few of these games. Up to 14 goals, 19 assists on 41 games. So that's a guy that's heating up. And
the Osh man.
The Blues have been kind to the Quickies. He also has Shattenkirk, who's up there as one of the top defensemen as far as fantasy purposes go. And he also is back as well as we've mentioned in the past. So the Quickies kind of hitting stride here. And this is a dangerous team that you certainly got to look out for. I was talking to Mendelson this morning, who did send over some texts in regards to Brent. Starting with last night, he sent me over a picture of the final score and said, "Send this to Brent for me." And then in quotation marks, he said, "Damn, I really blew it by not making any trades." Smiley face.
Oh.
Because, of course, as we previously mentioned, Brent sending over all the trade proposals, Mendelson declining each and every one of them. And then Brent's response was, "Suck a fat one," or "eat a fat one." So
Wow.
that
Good to
ended
know
that
that.
conversation. And then this morning, when I was talking to Mendelson, Mendelson says Mansfield's goaltending sure kept him competitive. Can't wait to watch the podcast. And then Mendelson went on to say, "Please bury him. He walked out of the locker room at Bethel Blade Runners before our matchup began, with 7 rejected trade offers and still a smile on his face. He muttered a single word on the way out of the door: goaltending. Went on to lose his matchup 149-90. So, a lot of trash talk going on. You mentioned we should have offered to have Brent on to kind of defend himself.
Right,
over
yeah.
here. This is a complete onslaught of Brent as a GM.
I feel like it always turns into this, too.
But you know what? He kind of opens himself up for it. He likes to run his mouth a little bit. We've been back and forth, certainly. And actually, and this is, I mean, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but when Brent saw the post that I read earlier from Jake Boss on the message board,
But did he respond
he
to it?
had a hilarious text message response to me, and I got to pull this up because it is definitely worth hearing.
And is it like a classic Brent where, like, yeah, like Brent, if I explain Brent to somebody, I would more or less just say, like, oh, his fantasy team name is his mayonnaise and instrument.
Right.
Yeah, like,
So Friday at 8:31 p.m., he had obviously just read the Jake Boss league message post, and he texted me saying, 10 hours later, and I just realized I got shafted. Got to give it to you, though. Not too many people can convince me like you do. To which I responded, "Oh my God, please. Your team is definitely better with those 3. He said, "Jake Boss is correct. Veto, veto, veto."
okay.
And then he continued to say, "No more brainwashing. You've done enough. It's over. But you are quite the brainwasher." And I said, "I'm offended." He said, "You're offended? I took away my dignity."
Wow.
He said, "I don't know what to believe anymore. Who am I? What is this world? The damage you have done." He was really breaking down.
Okay.
To which I offered him, if Hutchinson, Nelson, and Brody outscore Price and the 2 guys, if they don't outscore Price and the 2 guys that he drops, I'll give him his $20 back for the league. To which he responded, "You got yourself a deal. Can I just have my money back now?" And actually, Hutchinson has had 2 not so good starts since
Oh, yeah, I was going to say he got blown
shelled
up
the
and
other
won.
night against
Yeah.
Dallas, but I mean, that's to be expected. But we've given Brent more than enough airtime. Brent, I like the new team name. Don't give up, buddy. You still have you still have a ways to go, but you're not out of it yet. And just looking at the standings, he's really the only one left in. So because you have, and we'll get to these teams, but you have the odd man out at 5-11, Robbie Wright at 4-12, Colin Fawcett at 4-12, and Goodnight Jim Kite at 3-13. Unless they literally make a run to the end of the season, they're out of the playoffs. I really believe it's a 5-team race between you, I, Johnny, Mendelson, and Jake Boss.
Jakey Boo.
But if there's anybody else that could potentially jump in, it would be Brent. So still 7 weeks to go. Got to finish strong. So jumping over to the next matchup, and we'll get to yours. Another win for you. What is this now? 3 in a row?
4, I think.
4 in a row. You've been good, and the success you've been able to kind of sustain has been impressive. So you played Shanghai Panthers this week. Colin Fawcett, the final score 122 to 80.3. And you're right, 4 wins in a row. You're up to 13-3. Fawcett down to 4-12. Let's see here. I mean, to the naked eye, You got to tip your hat to Jamie Benn, 21.3.
Yeah.
I mean, every Dallas Stars player has been
Lighting it
huge.
up. Yeah.
And I actually just picked up Jason Spezza this morning,
Spetsy Boo.
one of the guys that Brent dropped in the trade, because, I mean, that team just scores at nauseam.
They score a lot of goals. Yeah.
And then, of course, I think really what makes your team so dangerous is the Sharks. And not that they had a particularly strong week, but when that team gets going, you have, like, half the team. So it's like, you're not going to... If the Sharks have a good week,
I have a great
you
week.
have a good week.
Right.
So that's kind of how it goes. Any other comments as far as your matchup goes?
Not too much. I didn't play John Klingberg 2 days ago. He had 16 points, but
Who's that?
Defenseman for Dallas. I picked him up a long time ago. Dropped him, then re-picked him up. Forgot I didn't put him in the lineup. He had 16 points. He had 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 power play goals, like a power play assist.
You did not have him in the lineup?
Correct.
Would that have given you the week high?
Probably.
Would've
I think
been-
it was 16 and a half points exactly he had.
You still would have been just behind, but that would have put you pretty damn close.
Yeah, I'm almost positive he had.
That always hurts when you make those.
Because I was scrolling through like the score app and it was like Klingberg there. Yeah, 2-1, 2 shots on goal, 16 and a half points, and he was on the bench. But like, yeah, he he had a nice effort there. And we're of course up against it here. We're pushing the time.
What is our current time?
45 minutes.
Okay. Well, we got 2 more matchups to get to, and then we'll close with a little some Todd Newken antics, which is going to be a treat. So certainly stay tuned.
We held that out to the end for a reason. Yeah.
Jumping over to the next matchup, Blake Wheeler versus the Odd Man Out. This was the lowest scoring contest of the week. The final score: Blake Wheeler 92.4 to the Odd Man Out 79.4. And it's been a disappointing season for Kurt Ott, first and foremost. Secondly, Kurt is the only member of the Intent to Injure League who has not paid yet. Kurt, first off, happy belated birthday. I know he is a late January birthday, so happy belated birthday to you. I also have a birthday coming up here in the second week of February.
That's right, you're 10 days
If you just
away.
want to send me a birthday card with your $20 league fee in it, that would be greatly appreciated. I can always text you over the address because I don't think that he's in. First off, okay, you have issues because I mean you might as well explain how much you're watching because this is great.
The shark on the left. I'm assuming most people have like seen this at this point. We're just scrolling through Barstool here. And the shark on the left.
He's talking about
the halftime show. Yeah, Katy Perry.
Super Bowl.
You have to watch this guy. So like, there's now like rumors that.
Wait, we gotta read it.
Okay, yeah.
Scroll down and read it.
So long story short, they're. Okay, so the Katy Perry. I'm assuming everybody watched it, but maybe you guys didn't. Setting the scene, Katy Perry was singing "California Girls," and they had 2. Mascot sharks in costumes kind of doing just like backup dancers. And what has now become the cult phenomenon of the shark on the left was drunk and had no fucking clue what he was doing. Like literally.
It was all like choreographed.
Yeah, it was
so, like, he was supposed to be doing the same thing as all the other sharks. Up on
It
stage.
appears the other shark is doing the Macarena because it like does like the straightforward moves, okay? Or the shark on the right knows what he's doing because he's very much in sync with the music.
Right.
The shark on the left is
just
like
waving his arms around
frantically, like.
But it doesn't stop there. It appears he took to Tinder.
To Tinder while
like leading up to this.
right, yeah, and the lead up to the game. His name is Garrett.
This is January 27th, so a handful of days before the Super Bowl.
Right. So yeah,
And,
about what?
He's on Tinder telling people that he's going to be the shark on stage at the Super Bowl.
And like, so he's in. We pick up this conversation with the girl where the girl is responding saying, "Are you on stage or in the cast?" And he says, "I'm known as an on-stage prop cast." She said, "So what's your role in all of this?" So this guy's thinking he's spitting game and says, "I am the shark. You'll see."
Which is the greatest part of all time because she's obviously seen by now.
What he is. To which, and this kid has a striking resemblance to Bryce Palumbo. First time I've seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so,
can see it.
and her response was, haha, okay, I'll be looking out for you. Well, they found the shark on the left, and more or less...
I mean,
Big Cat on Barstool has a great write-up about it, but like,
a legendary performance by the Shark.
right? Like this is so. Big Cat talks about it. He says only in America will you'll have some strange shark. He says when people say this is why terrorists hate us, I'm pretty sure Shark Guy fucking a ton of chicks during Super Bowl week solely because he's a shark guy and a 10-minute halftime show costs us tens of millions of dollars. It's the number one reason why terrorists hate us. Stake it till you make it, but nothing but love for the shark on the left. I mean, man,
that's great. That's great.
The first comment is if I wasn't a Pats fan, I'd say the shark on the left was the best part of the entire game. I kid you not. If you watch these vines, like this guy has no clue what's going on. It is just like the magnitude of it all. They're paying tens of millions of dollars for this to go off without a hitch, and this guy's just like literally
waving his arms around aimlessly. I mean, could you imagine like the director of that seeing that? I mean, you have to look up the vine.
What is this move? He ends it like, oh
It
shit.
goes down. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Like the one on the right looks like like she was a cheerleader or
Yeah.
something. Like very, very like
It's like
strict with her.
everything's like perfect, it's like symmetrical. And our guy's just like. But anyways, all right, we need to get back to the matchup.
We do,
We
but
have
yeah,
to get back to the matchup.
That is, I mean, that's worth it. Oh man.
So Blake Wheeler with another win, his second in a row up to 10-6. We said Kurdot down to 5-11. For Mr. Jacob Boss, he's got Ben Bishop in goal, who had a nice week. He's just racking up the wins for Tampa Bay. And I mean, Shea Weber, talk about the kind of year he's had.
Boom. Yeah.
And his heart, and I was at that skills competition. That hardest shot was right in front of me.
I was gonna say, what did that look? You couldn't see it. Like you didn't see it go.
The puck?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was moving pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing.
Hard to track,
hard to like follow it.
But
yeah.
I mean, what a man that guy is. He's turned into a hell of a fantasy player for Blake Wheeler this year.
His mayonnaise.
But really not much else to elaborate on this matchup.
Correct.
Blake Wheeler just is. He can't stop thinking about the two losses to the Jonathan Quickies by less than a point. I mean, he's literally beside himself. Because he gets those two wins and he's comfortably in that 4th spot.
Right, he's
some breathing
like
room.
a game up with tiebreaker probably or something to the effect.
Yeah, so he is. He's not happy about that, and I actually, if I'm not mistaken here, Blake Wheeler is the number 2 team in the league with points for, which is wild considering he's sitting out of a playoff spot right now. So, but he's a very well balanced team. I was going through his roster. So we'll see. It's going to be a tight playoff race coming to the finish. Jumping over to the final matchup of Week 16.
Madonna auto goal and Bob's battling bandits.
So that's what the most recent one is. Let me just say this. With the loss this week, thank God Robbie Wright's not going to be in the playoffs, because this is a team that would legitimately scare me.
Robbie Wright? Yeah, with the star
Let
power.
me read some of the names that Robbie Wright has, and this includes that trade that I made with him, because he has some nice guys from the trade. Going up and down the Bob's battling bandits. Some big names. He has Brandon Saad, Roberto Luongo, Phil Kessel, James Neal, Rick Nash, Chara, Dougie Hamilton, PK Subban, Tyler Seguin, David Perron, Nicoletti, Eric Stahl, Taylor Hall, Patrice Bergeron. I mean,
Someone walk in?
Yeah, I think Marissa's here now.
Oh.
But she knows we're down here filming the podcast. Of course, went way longer than we expected. I figured
No, we actually texted earlier and we said we might do an hour. We haven't hit an hour yet. No.
we have not hit an hour, but we also left. We were supposed to leave for the gym at 1, and my math took us to not 4:30. So.
Holy shit.
Well,
yeah.
So it is what it is.
Ew.
But Madonna Audible gets the victory here in a very tight game. Bob's Battling Bandits took them to the finish line. Actually won the last day by a couple points, but falls just short. The final score 108.9 to 105.1.
Truly a goal short, yeah.
Madonna Auto Goal still getting the job done without Sidney Crosby producing in the lineup, which is impressive. Really impressive that him and Fleury didn't have a very strong week. Halak didn't have a strong week, actually had negative points, the Islander goaltender. So, I mean, other guys stepping up for that team, and he's definitely looking like he's going to be in the playoffs come week 23.
So, Other than there's not much else to talk about other than that. So
So the final thing, before we sign off here, we've talked about him before. He's been referred to as Todd Newken. To refresh your memory, if you do not recall, he is my captain for my adult league team out in New Kensington, and he's a confirmed psychopath. And what you're about to hear is just only going to kind of grow the legend that is Todd Newken, because there were some rumblings in the locker room after our most recent playoff game that Todd had almost like a hidden site, because not many people knew about it.
Now that to me is the weirdest part when you said somebody brought it up like sort of in like a cryptic way.
Yeah.
Like Todd does this just for himself.
Yeah, more
like
or
no
less.
one else is looking at the site but him, which is crazy.
Yeah. Not many people. I mean, I play for the damn team, and I wasn't aware that this site existed. So, we've talked about it before. We've changed our team name. We're playing our last game as the Hurricanes, and we're transitioning over to the Kings.
Right.
In which I paid like $900 for a new uniform. We do have a little prop to show you, as I did get part of the uniform after handing them like an envelope of like $200 cash.
So.
And I do not plan to wear this.
Yeah. Right. This is the new.
This is the shell right here.
Shell.
You see, you got the Kings logo.
The stripe.
I mean,
stripes.
So there's the shell, which
we have though confirmed that this is a very nice product. Like it's the quality, the craftsmanship.
I mean, it was worth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's not beating me out of cash. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is actually like quality. This is actually very nice.
But it's
shell.
just a shame that I have no interest in wearing that.
Well, yeah, and the fact that it doesn't really fit properly.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's. I'm not real big on the socks, and the jerseys are yellow. I kind of was hoping the jerseys would be purple, because I feel like that would look better.
A little homage to Team Purple too wouldn't hurt anyone.
Yeah. Actually, I like the purple color, but neither here nor there. This guy is nuts. So I actually pulled a few strings and got the link to this site, and I've told you about it, but you haven't seen it yet. So
this is going to be
a live reaction, and he's going to really relay what he's seeing to, of course, all of you guys. So I'm going to X out of...
You're going to need a little brightness here.
Here we go. So right out of the gate, we got the site pulled up here, and purple and yellow top to bottom with the Kings logo. Home of the Kings hockey.
He has sponsors.
Well, I think this league lineup just has... oh, wait.
Oh. No. This is you know what this is? This is proof never get married. And Marissa's upstairs. You don't get married because this is what happens.
Yeah.
This is all he has left.
Yeah. I mean that's true.
Oh my god.
So
No.
So it starts off with it starts off with the team logo, and it says members of the Pittsburgh Ice Arena B Division, 4-time champions. It lists all the times we've won the championship, and then has our date for the next championship game. And by far the most mind-boggling part of the entire website is right underneath, if you want to kind of relay to the league what you're seeing right now.
I am seeing a retired numbers section. Retired numbers for adult league B hockey. I will now read off the numbers where if you ever had the opportunity, or I don't think it's an opportunity, I think it would be the demoralization of your life to play for this team, which we have all now come to understand is run by literally, like Stalin light. He has retired numbers. Number 14, Jerry Baker. So if you're a Chris Kunitz fan, you can't wear his number. Yeah. Number 25, Matt Ippolito. So if you're a Talbot fan, out.
Sorry.
And number 6, Matt Newcomer. So apparently, if your name's Matt, you have a pretty good chance of retiring your number.
Yeah. So but it doesn't stop there. And I was just going through this morning. I mentioned there's a fan shop on the left side.
Oh my God, he is.
And it appears he has designed the apparel, because this wouldn't come up.
Please click on that.
I'm gonna go to the.
No, I'd like you to click on. the Kings hockey shop. Yeah.
right there. So let's see what I mean.
Oh my god.
Oh
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He needs help. This is worse than Michael Pizzini. I'm not Mr. Bowers. I'm Matthew. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's like 50 fucking companies. Fruit the Loom.
Oh my god. So no.
Revito out.
No.
Oh my god.
So I clicked on this expecting to see one shirt, and there's 9 different variations of shirts that you can buy by 9 different companies.
No, you can't even be fucking serious. This is all. I can't.
I mean,
There's
there's no way. Oh my god.
Oh my god, there's women's for the boobs. There's boobs. They made it for the boobs.
This link will be up on the homepage. I mean, this is.
Oh my god.
There's. Wait, oh my god. There's 4 pages of women's shirts. 9 per page. This is it.
Oh my god. No, you can't. This is.
There's no way.
No. Oh my god! The fucking my stomach hurts.
There's 9 different backpacks with the Kings hockey that you can buy.
These are fucking expensive. $120 for a book bag. There's a drawstring. You'd like that.
The drawstring actually isn't bad.
Oh my
What do
god.
they want for that?
What else is on here? Oh, please keep going. Kids!
No. Oh my god.
Holy shit.
I mean, this is like literally NHLshop.com for the
I'm
Kings.
not gonna lie, I kind of like the white one. Pride! No. What is the King's Pride?
Oh my god.
Keep going.
This is Kings. These are Kings children's hooded sweatshirts.
I still kind of do like that white one.
There's hats, adjustable caps. This is literally,
What can't beat Kings hockey?
there's everything.
There's a camo
camo
cap.
Kings hat. This is unbelievable. And this isn't like LA Kings either. Like, this is like generic.
This is like Kings, yeah.
Like it looks like it's an adult league team.
Okay, click on accessories, please.
Oh my god. There can't be.
Scarf.
Scarves, blankets, towels.
Just click on the hat. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh!
There's scarves, so there's gloves. This is unbelievable.
He designed every single one of these. Why isn't there like a 4-Pete shirt on here?
You can get
That's a parka.
You can get skiing apparel, volleyball. Fencing apparel. Is there fencing apparel There is fencing apparel.
I just farted. I can't even hold it in. Get out.
I don't know what else to say. I'm stunned. I figured there's like a picture of a graphic of a black shirt, and I thought that was it. I thought that was crazy.
Just the fact that he has women's and they have like the boobs like ready to go. Like, oh my god.
That's unbelievable.
Oh my. Okay.
So it doesn't stop there. There is an all-time leaders list as well.
I didn't
as we
think that
wrap
this was like what you were saying it was. Let's put it that way.
Like, I wasn't messing with you. When
I'm
I told
actually
you this.
shaking. This is absurd.
So he's the all-time leader in goals, 292.
292 goals.
And he keeps all these stats, he says, based off of memory. So we've had games where we score 15, 16, 17 goals. He claims that he knows every goal and every assist.
He had 292 goals?
Let's see how many games played. There's a category for everything.
Oh my.
He's played 152 games.
So he's averaging over 2 goals. Well, he's averaging like right at 2 goals a game.
Yeah, which is very reasonable.
That's unbelievably reasonable.
Uh,
Short-handed goals. He has game-winning goals. This site literally could entertain you for a week.
I mean, it's really unbelievable.
How many short-handed goals do you have?
I got 2 shorthanded goals. Not bad.
That's good.
I played about 30 games for this
I
team.
played a game for you guys. I wonder if I made it on there as a sub.
Let's look at game winners.
Oh my god. Do you have any game winners? I don't even see your name.
Yeah, I have 8.
Which puts you in what place?
5th. Totter's 27.
Larry Jizzy has 27 game-winning goals. Shit. Oh, Bryn, my boy Bryn.
What does he have?
Bryn, 1.
One.
Click on Bryn's name. See if he has the names hyperlinked.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Oh, you could probably click on go to the roster on the left.
I clicked this. This was the first thing I clicked on when it came on here, and there wasn't like anything on this.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, this is just like this.
Oh, that's a shame.
You'd think he'd have that. Now, apparently, there was a team history page. He's deleted it. He's currently redoing it.
Can you click photo albums? Because that's starting to scare me.
There's no chance he has photos on here. Okay.
Oh, praise God.
Thank
Okay,
Lord, no
thank the
photos
Lord.
have been loaded.
What
By
about-
far, the most stunning part of all this is the fan shop.
It's like rotating on the bottom of the screen. Now they're having us looking at this. That means a pretty cool white hoodie.
I'm gonna end up finding something on here.
Do they have any half zips? Of course.
I'm gonna check, but this is unbelievable. I'm going to post this link to the league homepage because for the few people that have watched this hour and 6 minutes, I feel like it would be a disservice to not include.
What
this for
happens
people
if
to
you
see.
click those headlines on the right?
I'm not sure if anything comes up because he mentioned that he had to. Yeah, nothing comes up. So he did mention that he wants to add some more to this site, but it's really far and away. I mean, what can you say? I mean, this is absolutely, positively out of control.
This is a psychosis. This is a behavior.
But you're right. The wife plays 80%.
right.
You know, she's the reason for this.
I can't. I actually don't. That.
Okay, that's enough. So we're gonna post that link to the homepage.
That was a genuine
Please check that
first
out.
response reaction to that. I didn't even begin.
Well, you saw my first response to the fan page because I did not click into that earlier. So there's that. That's what I'm dealing with in life right now. So that's good.
That's the most intricate design I've seen ever for an adult league. This crown is bedazzled.
I mean,
There's
that's better.
jewels on it.
That's better than some of
the-
the NHL stuff that I've seen.
Yeah, the very dull the outline of an airplane for the Jets. That's really intrinsic for. We forgot to thank our sponsors over there. We forgot to thank our sponsors.
Well, in this,
Well, closing with this, we have.
okay, this is it, and I'll let you do this.
So we came down earlier to set up for this before we went to work out, and we found what was Ben Zaleski. It stinks. Okay, we found this in Ben's. You could actually smell it in Ben's little cum cave over here. We'll give you a quick look. I think we gave you a look last time, but there it is. Real quick
Where's the
refresher. It hasn't changed. And Ben must have gone to Sheets, maybe after a hockey game or something. He got this order was placed. It doesn't have maybe the receipts in the bag. I'm a little afraid to open this, to be honest. No, but there's inside of here. He got this at 6:58 p.m.
Does that have a date?
No, it doesn't. It just says 6:58.
See, that's dangerous because that looks like that could have been sitting down here for a week.
It smells like it's been sitting down here for a week. He got a 12-inch California turkey. He got 2 churros and something called a white chocolate dip.
I mean, the big guy treated himself.
Listen to the thud this makes.
And that thing's 10 pounds.
You're I'm scared to
Oh my god, don't open that.
He took. It confirmed 1 bite. And on that, we leave you with that.
Yeah, I mean, what a
One
podcast from
bite!
start to finish. We do apologize. I know a lot of you don't really
Unopened.
I mean, I don't know what. We do apologize. We understand an hour and 10 minutes is a long time commit to a fantasy hockey podcast. I know there's at least a few of you that will, and you will enjoy this. But we felt like we kind of had to overcompensate since we haven't been with you here for a few weeks. So we're gonna try to keep up with it, and we say this every time. Hopefully we can.
Yeah, we will now. I think we will now. Everything's
Now
settled
the
down a
football's
bit.
over,
Yeah.
So, great to be back. Best of luck to everybody in Week 17, and we will catch you next time on the Intent to Injure podcast.